Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have with us Mr. Prashant Upadhyaya, Vice President of Technology at Truminds Software Systems from Gurugram. In our Learning from Leaders series, we want to find out a lot about leadership from him as he leads the R&D for 5G at Truminds, both radio and core networks. His career journey includes notable positions at Aricent and Hughes Software Systems, where he served as Director of Technology and Software Engineer respectively. Mr. Upadhyaya's diverse skill set extends beyond technology as he is proficient in multiple languages including German, French, Spanish, Mandarin, Russian, Nepali, Japanese and Finnish. This linguistic proficiency reflects his adaptability and global mindset in navigating the intricacies of today's interconnected world. A seasoned professional with a solid educational foundation, he holds an MBA in Finance and Strategy from Management Development Institute and has acquired other academic qualifications from BITS Pilani and Instituto Cervantes, New Delhi. Join us as we delve into Mr. Upadhyaya's insights, experiences and leadership philosophy in our Learning from Leaders series. Welcome, sir.
Hi Veena, thanks for this.
So the first question that I really want to ask you, since I've delved into your profile, is that would you want to tell our viewers what Truminds is all about, and in your opinion, secondly, which are the key competencies that any individual must hone in order to become a successful leader, especially in context of IT industry?
Right. So Veena, Truminds is a software products and engineering services firm, which means we are truly into software, and software is divided into two parts. One is the digital domain, which deals with AI, ML, IoT, web apps, mobile apps, and the second part is the telecom, where we focus on all the Gs, starting from 2G, 3G, 4G, and now 5G. And as I said, it's a product engineering services firm, which means on one side we do services-based projects for our customers, and on the other side we have our own IPRs. For example, I'm leading, as you said, the 5G R&D at Truminds. So we have our own core network, we are developing our own radio access network. So that's the product part of it which we sell to our customers. So there you are at Truminds. You asked about what kind of competencies one should have, especially to become a leader in the IT industry. I would say in general, and that's true for all the industries, is that you should have this extreme voracious hunger to always learn. Why? Because in IT industry, the landscape changes very fast. I've been a user interface developer back in 1990s when we used to use technologies like Xmotif. Before you knew it, Java came into the world. Java Swing apps were, before you knew it, we went into the Symbian OS from Nokia, and before you knew it, Apple came, whether it's iOS, Android. The landscape of technology changes very fast, so you have to be nimble. You have to be fundamentally sound in the technological concepts of computer science, and then be ready to change, because change is the only constant in the IT industry. That's my mantra for everybody else who wants to be the leader in the IT industry.
So it is definitely reiterating to our viewers that you must adapt to change, and in a very nimble manner, very fast, very agile way, you must adapt yourself. And as Prashant mentioned, that you need to be a voracious reader, a very keen learner, so that you keep on changing according to the times and the technology, basically. So as someone with proficiency in multiple languages and experience in diverse cultural contexts, since you've been to so many countries, how do you leverage your global mindset to lead effectively in a multinational organization like Truminds and even before that?
Right. Language is just a tool. All of us Indians are polyglots, aren't we? We speak English and Hindi and many other regional languages. What is more important is the communication which is facilitated by these languages. And I think communication is what is important to get business, to get the solutions done when you are working with so many other companies. And that's what I realized when I once visited China, for example. I went to Shanghai, and there the communication breaks down, literally breaks down when you're in that country, because they just wouldn't understand English. the hotel receptionists, the taxi guys, even, a lot of leaders out there just wouldn't be able to communicate properly in English. And that's where I learned the importance of learning the Chinese language, for example, and therefore deal with the communication over there. Okay. Now, when you learn a language, there's another aspect to it. You not only just learn a language with its grammar and so on, you also inevitably get in touch with the culture of that country. How is the mindset of those people, and that's what really helps you when you're doing business with them. There's an emotional connect with those people, and sometimes that's what is just the edge which you need in a level playing field, or else remaining the same to win a deal. Now, how do I use this mindset at Truminds? Yes, that's indeed, it's very much in context, because Truminds deals with global customers, and we deal with the Americans, we deal with Finnish, we deal with Europeans, and therefore there's a slight calibration which we are able to do very effectively when dealing with Japanese on one hand, or dealing with Spanish people on the other hand, or dealing with the Americans on the other hand, and that gives us an advantage. But I'd like to turn the whole question on its head. Sometimes I provoke this feeling of Indianness amongst our team members in this global context. Okay. So I tell my engineers that when you're dealing with these global leaders and global customers, that hey, you're not only just an engineer from Truminds, you are representing the entire country, you are representing the Indian IT industry, and that gives them the energy to go and get them.
So this is such a beautiful, inspiration for his team members, that they are not just brand ambassadors of a particular organization like Truminds, but they are brand ambassadors for the entire nation. So this is something that all of us can bear in mind, especially when we work with multinationals or multicultural environments. So that's beautiful. So now, Prashant, you are a professional who has a lot of experience, 26 plus years of experience, and now you are from Generation X, right? So how do you deal with subordinates or team members or even clients who may be representing Generation Y or Generation Z? So if you could give us some mantras for dealing effectively with the multi-generational workforce, keeping the team motivated, keeping them engaged, especially when they have so much of uncertainty and change to cope up with.
Right, that's an interesting question. So we, in fact, you yourself, Veena, and I, we are from Generation X, so Gen X, right? So now, for us, TV was a luxury, right? Landlines, telephones were a luxury. We used to wait in the queue in the STD booths, right? And today, we were from a generation who were patient, patient for things to be getting done. We were like, there was a saying in our, in our culture, "Sehaj pake so meetha hoye," right? Now, today, for example, guys want meetha, they'll order it right away from Blinkit. They want it now, and they want it absolutely right now on a click of a button. Yeah. So, how do you deal with this Generation Y and Gen Z now, who's coming into the workforce, with the leaders who are from Gen X? There's a cultural gap between the two.
Absolutely.
These guys are patient, these guys are impatient. These guys have the energy, but these guys have the experience. So how do you marry the two? Now, for that there are techniques, and the techniques are, for example, we use something called the agile methodology of software development. So we don't do, for example, first the design and then wait, which was called the traditional waterfall model. People are impatient for that kind of a thing. They cannot wait for design to finish in 3 months and then go on. They want agile methodology. So define a work backlog, take a sprint of 14 days, 2 weeks, develop something small, develop a prototype, develop a proof of concept, give a demonstration, and move on. And do this incremental development where you're constantly dealing with tangible outputs. That's what this generation wants. And so the experience would lead to the design of these sprints towards a final product, and the energy of this Gen Y or Gen Z would execute this and take it to fruition. That's the mantra.
Great. So what I understand in a layperson's language is that, number one, Generation X is very patient and very experienced because with the number of years that we put in, but Gen Z is very impatient. They want immediate gratification and they want results very quickly, but yes, they have a lot of energy which can be put to use. So for that, you break up the entire complex task into chunks and then you roll it out slowly but surely with a surer footing, and that is when they are going to give you good results.
Absolutely. Right? I think you can be a software manager yourself.
Thank you. So next, what I would want to know is that is there any specific example of a time when you were leading a team through a very challenging project or a very difficult situation, and how did you approach it and still get the work done? What was the outcome? So if you could just give us such an example.
That creates a little bit of a nostalgia, and over a course of 26 years you could imagine that there will be several such instances, but there's one which is close to my heart, and that was when I was not so much of a young engineer. I had a little bit of an experience, and that was late 1990s or early 2000s, and without naming the customer, we were working for a so-called satellite base station. So we had a satellite which was used for communication, and there was a ground operations center which used to control the satellite and was mission critical, because if our software modules don't work correctly, it means the communication breaks down and everybody on the ground is affected who's using those big mobile phones to communicate with the satellite. Now, there was a module, we were working on the, if I remember the name correctly, it was a gateway station operations and maintenance console. And there was a critical software module which was managing the radio of the satellite. And the way it was designed was not entirely to write home about, and therefore we were running into a lot of bugs into that, and it was difficult to maintain this. Now, the option number one was to keep on maintaining it, but that means we are spending all our R&D efforts in maintaining it, solving the bugs, and therefore not being able to innovate. The other option was to rewrite it from scratch, but who dare rewrite it from scratch, a complex module like that one? So therefore, and I wanted to rewrite it. So therefore, we once sat down with the team, and I convinced them that, hey, instead of sweating it out for the next 1 year, let's sweat it out for next 1.5 months, rewrite it, tame this beast, get it under our control, and then have fun for the rest of the 9 months supporting it when we actually see it working. There was a lot of debate and so on. I had to convince the management and so on, but finally we did it. And for the first 1.5 months, it was tough work, because we were building a new one, rewriting it, supporting the old one, somehow managing the show. But in the end, the whole team sweated it out. It was blood, sweat, toil, and tears. But we had a module which we could call our own. We owned it. It was our baby, and it worked. And I sometimes still remember, and some of the team members are still in touch with me, when you could make it work, and the whole project was a success. So the question is, you take the right decisions at the right time, go for the execution, and then you'll come out as a winner.
Great. So under such challenging times, I'm sure the team members, they feel a lot of stress, anxiety, sometimes they feel low morale. So do you need to give them a pep talk, and do you need to make them more resilient when such challenges are getting handled?
Oh, absolutely. And my mentors and my seniors have done it to me, and I've given this kind of a pep talk to my juniors as well. And I think you have to show them a sense of purpose, show them a vision, show them the outcome, create a goalpost, and then they would go all after. There's a famous example that you ask people to dig a hole and dig 10 holes, and without giving them the purpose, they would not be motivated to do that. But then you tell them that these holes will be used to post the poles on which there'll be lightings, and it will be helping out the people out there. Then they would be motivated to dig those holes. So that's what I told the engineers, that hey, when we do this, people will be actually communicating using our module, using the satellite. How wonderful that would be. And then they went all after it.
I'm sure that's the importance of shared vision, which leaders always use to motivate their teams, and then everyone works with synergy. Now, last but not the least, I am really curious to know, what are your guiding principles or the philosophy which shapes your approach to life and leadership, influencing both your day-to-day decisions or the long-term strategic ones?
Right. So it might sound quite odd, but I've borrowed some principles of computer science and tried to employ them in my life. Usually it's the other way around, but let's see what I'm saying. Yeah. So in software world and computer science, a lot of times you'll hear the term control plane, data plane. Now intuitively you can imagine that control plane is the brains of the software. It takes the important decisions and then gives those decisions to the data plane. And the data plane is slightly dumb. It just transfers the data blindly based on what has been decided by the control plane. Okay. Now let's map it to the real life. So the data plane represents the run-of-the-mill activities which have to be done on a daily basis, no matter what. So you don't want to spend too much time on the control plane doing those activities, and you have to optimize this path in your life very clearly. For example, let's say you have to wash your car daily, right? Now you wouldn't do it yourself. You would employ a person. You will give him all the right equipment so that he can do it on his own. Optimize that activity. Identify these data plane activities in your life. Optimize them, automate them, and let them be done by someone else.
Right.
The control plane is where you make those strategic choices. What career I have to choose, right? Or let's say in terms of the car, which car do I have to buy, right? That's a strategic decision. You should be taking that. So likewise, identify in your life what are the control plane activities, what are the data plane activities, optimize the data plane activities and offload them. Keep the control plane activities and the strategic choices in your hand and spend your time and energy on those. That's a little bit abstract perhaps for your viewers, but if you watch this video again and listen to what I'm saying, you'll immediately get it.
What I could understand from Prashant's inputs are that the viewers need to demarcate between the very important activities which are essential for you to consider yourself, take decisions yourself, and the routine day-to-day things which can be delegated to others. So you don't need to spend much of your energy in that. So the important things need to be held with yourself, and you need to spend more time on those important decisions and activities in life. Am I right?
Absolutely. And make no mistake, those data plane activities might be the control plane activities for some other person who's actually doing them.
Okay.
So there's a division at some level between the two in everybody's life. You have to define your choices between the two.
Absolutely. So again, one more takeaway from this input is that delegation needs to be exercised because once you are free from the routine activities, bigger opportunities open up for you, and the smaller or not so essential ones can be handled by others, but for that person it might be very, very important, right? So thank you so much, Prashant, for all your time and your insights, which I'm sure our viewers would benefit a lot from. Thanks for your time.
The pleasure was all mine.